Let's get one thing straight. Asking if ISO 27001 is really worth it is like asking whether seatbelts are really worth it, or smoke detectors, or travel insurance. Each of these things are safety measures, meaning they exist because they provide preventative protection, act as precautionary tools, and/or minimize the potential for disaster. Where ISO 27001 is concerned, it's preventative protection against costly breaches, a precaution against the possibility of losing contracts, and a minimized potential for disasters like reputational damage or big stonking fines. And for seatbelts, smoke detectors, and travel insurance, well, you don't need me to spell those ones out for you. Nuance does come into play here. For example, you might be less inclined to wear a seatbelt if you're driving a Little Tikes cozy coupe. A smoke detector might not feel quite as essential if you live in an igloo. You might think twice about travel insurance if the big trip you've got planned is a spa retreat in the Isle of Man. And the gravity of ISO 27001 certification may carry less weight if you're a small business with limited data exposure in a low-risk industry. As opposed to a tech firm, financial institution, legal organization, or a healthcare provider. It's likely that ISO 27001 certification still concerns you, and I'll tell you for why. Being certified could be the factor that determines whether a prospect chooses to work with you or goes for one of your competitors. Being certified guarantees your credibility and commitment to security without the need for that larger client you're hoping to bag, or the enterprise-level contract you're gagging to close, needing to do time-consuming due diligence. In other words, it gives you a competitive advantage that's probably going to open a lot of doors for you when you go for those bigger opportunities. It's a rather helpful tick in a high priority box for a lot of prospects, but it's also a lot more than that. If you're ISO 27001 certified, you send out a clear signal that your business takes data security seriously and your practices and systems are up to scratch. Without it, you're signing yourself up for a really boring game of show and tell, with no guarantee that you'll even convince your audience by the end of it. For businesses in highly regulated sectors, or those accustomed to processing a lot of sensitive information, ISO 27001 helps ensure compliance with technical and organizational measures required by data protection laws. Being uncertified doesn't necessarily mean that you're not legally compliant, but it leads prospects to suspect that you may not have the line of defense in place. Let's say, God forbid, the worst does happen. Your clients want to be sure that you've taken all necessary steps and done everything humanly possible to reduce the impact of the consequences. ISO 27001 certification guarantees this because the nature of the whole process forces you to assess, understand, and mitigate risks systematically. Loads of businesses end up massively improving other areas on account of this. Becoming attuned to systematic risk management can have a reverberating effect across lots of different areas of business and even life. Take product launches, for example, or family road trips. If you're still on the fence, get down from there. It's not very comfortable for starters. And you can easily eradicate doubt on either side by asking yourself one simple question. What's the cost of my business not being certified? If that cost is greater than the upfront cost you'll incur to get certified, which, by the way, is a lot less than you might think, we should talk pronto.